In this video, we'll show how to create an HTML service using the HTML IDE and then upload it to the Service Manager to invoke it as an API. HTML service is recorded through an external IDE that we have in HTML. To get to this external IDE, you can go to the Services pane on the Service Manager and add a new HTML service. This will pop up a dialog that will show you where you can download the HTML IDE, and it will also show you or give you a link to an external reference of all the recording and playback commands that we will be using during the recording, and we will refer to it in the next sessions. So to start recording, what you need to do is first to download the HTML IDE. Once you click it, it will download the zip file which you will need to extract, and then you will be able to invoke the IDE. This is how the zip is looked after it is extracted, and to invoke the IDE you just need to double click the Firefox portable executable over here. And this is exactly what I'll do. So our IDE is based on Firefox browser, and the recorder itself is a plugin that was added to this browser. To open it, you will just click on this button, the HTML IDE, here in the toolbar, and this will open another window with the IDE panes. As you can see, the most convenient way to work with it, as I see it, is to open the windows side by side. On the left side, I have here the browser where I will actually navigate to the application that I want to record. And on the right side, I will see the IDE recording the scenario. So the first thing would be to press the recording button. When we open the IDE for the first time, the recording button is already opened by default. We can, of course, at any time click to stop the recording or start it again. So now we are in a recording mode. And the next thing we will do is to navigate to the application that we want to record. For this demo, I will be using the absences module on the Oracle EBS system. And we will go with this model in the next sessions as well. So I'll just navigate to the EBS system, the demo system that we are using. I'll log in. And this will get me to the home page of the EBS system. I have the absences module here on my favorite menu, so I'll just click it and choose the absences and get to the entry page of the absences module where I see the list of absences. On the right side, you can see that the recorder already captured all the actions that I've done with the absences system. I'll stop the recording at this point and let's see what we have on the IDE. The IDE is constructed of few panes. On the right side, the top right side, you can see all the commands that the recorder just captured and added to the HTML script. So we can see them one by one. When we click a specific command, I will see the details here on the bottom. This first command is open, which means to navigate to a specific URL. Then we have a cert title, which is a verification command that verifies that we got to the login page by checking the title. Then we type in the username, the password, we click on the submit button, we verify that we got to the home page of the EBS system. We open the favorites menu, click on the absences option, and verify that we got to the absences page. This is what we see on the right pane. On the left pane, we see all the test cases that we are working right now. Currently, we just opened the IDE, so we don't have anything, only the new test case, but we can add open test cases that we have already recorded in previous recordings. We can delete open test cases, etc. So this is what we have on the left side, and on the bottom, we have a few tabs that we will be using during the playback of the recording. So the first thing I can do is just run the recording to see that it plays okay inside the IDE. Here on the top, I have the toolbar with a few buttons that we will go over. So the first one will be just play the current test. And here I can see that it just plays the test to see that everything is okay. As any IDE, I have the option of adding breakpoints and going and playing the recording with steps. So I can right click on the commands pane, get this menu, and choose to add breakpoint, for example. And now when I run, it will stop here on the breakpoint, and I will be able to step through the commands one by one to control it and to debug it. And of course, I can resume. So this is the basic operation of the IDE. Here on the bottom side, we can see the log window, which shows me, that may show me different kind of errors if I'm encountering an error while I'm playing the script or creating the script. And let's see a few more tabs here, but for that I would need to get some values from the page. I mean, usually when I do a UI flow, I would want to take some of the values from the page that I get to and return it back as output parameters. So in this case, just to demo this capability, I'll just capture a few fields here from the table. To do that and to create an output, I'm using a command, a group of commands that start with the word store. So I'll just write here store, and in this case I will store text field, because the fields that I want to capture here, the first row here, are all text fields. So I'll just say text field, store text, go here, and here I have two very useful buttons. The first one is used to locate the text field that I want to capture. So I'll just click on it, and then I can go here to the browser and just point on the field that I want to capture. And this will get me the selector of the field that I want to capture. And now I need to give a name to this output. So let me call it start date. And I can capture more fields in the same way. And to do that in a faster way, I can just copy this line and paste it a few times and only change the field. So I'll get to the next line, I'll press the select, and now I will choose the end date. I will change the name here. Let's do it for another field. This will be absence type. And the last one, let's take this one and let's call it absence days. So we saw the select button, which helps us to point on specific field. We also have the find button. When we stand on a command and we press the find button, it will show us which field we are getting the output from. So the select and find buttons are very useful when working with the IDE. Now, when I'll run this script again, we have the breakpoint here. Let's remove it and resume. After getting to the page, it will also get the outputs of these fields on the first line. And how can I see these outputs? I can go here to the stored vars tab, and I'll find all the values here. So in this way, I can verify that all the outputs that I wanted to catch are captured correctly. And I have here two additional tabs, which are more for documentation. When I'm adding a command manually, like when I'm, for example, selecting the store command, I can go here to the reference and get documentation for this command. I can see that the name is store text, and the first parameter is the locator of the field, how I can find it on the DOM, and then the variable names, etc. So now we have a script that we just recorded. Let's remove this empty line. And the next thing to do would be to save this test. So I'll just save it, file save test case or Control S. And let's save it on our system somewhere. Let's put it here. I'll create a new folder called Demo IDE. And then inside, I'll just give it a name. Let's call it get demo get absence list. So now I have it saved on my local disk. I can create more scripts like this. I can close it, open it again, etc. But the next thing I want to show you is how to upload it to the service manager and use it as a service. So we will go back to the service manager. We will close this pop-up. And now I will use the upload recording button. So I'll press it, and it will ask me to load the recorded file, the recording file. So I'll go to the place where I just saved the recording files. It would be here. And I'll select it. And this will upload the recording into my service manager and create a new service. So this is the URL of the system that I'm recording the flows against it. I can change it here if it is a different domain, but usually I will just approve it. And now I get the page in which I set all the details of the service. So the name would be the name that I've just chosen, that I just chose for the file that I recorded. I can put a description, and I can see here the input files that I've been using in this flow. In my case, it was the login, the username and the password, the login details. And I can also see all the outputs that I've just set in the recorded script, the start date, end date, absence. We can change the label here. We can remove some of them, etc. We won't go over all the details right now. I just want you to get a general impression of how this is done. And we have a few advanced details we won't go through right now. And now we can just create the service. So we will go here, press create service, and we have it in our service manager. And now that we have it here, we can test it. So I'll just press the test button. I can change the default values that I've been using for the login and put other values. I can remove the default values if I want. I don't want it to be visible. And then I can press the run test. This will invoke the flow. And you can see that I succeeded running the flow. And you can also see that I've got back the response from the absences table as expected. So this is how you create an HTML script and load it to the service manager with Aura Player. Thank you.